important here, not me. In particular, a very important item up here, our four-post bed. Now, the four-post bed you see before you is an original artifact to the War of 1812. It belonged to a British officer by the name of Nicholas Toller Kingsley. It's actually the only artifact we know 100% was in here during the War of 1812. Now, Captain Kingsley suffered from a very common disease of the era, known as the ague. Now, what is the ague? I couldn't quite honestly tell you. Basically, your doctor calls it the ague when it's a lung disease and he doesn't know what it is. So Kingsley suffered from a variety of maladies. He had hacking fits. Often through the night he'd have to cough up the contents of his lungs, the blood and the phlegm that was pooling in them. He had difficulty raising his voice. He would have difficulty even sitting upright from time to time. It made it very difficult for him to do his duty as an officer of the king. So over time, he decided to take what was considered the best remedy for lung disease. And that, of course, is quicksilver enemas. So, mercury. Now, mercury poisoning is a terrible way to go. Mercury kills your nervous system, and it starts with your brain. Kingsley began to suffer from mood swings, often violent. He began to have hot sweats out of nowhere. He would thrash about and have nightmares and even hallucinations. And time went on, it got worse and worse as the disease and the poison worked through him. Now, the last stage of mercury poisoning is your nervous system dying. And when your nervous system is dying, it screams out for help in the only language it knows: pain. Men who have gone through this have spoken and written of what it was like. And they said it felt like every pain they had ever felt since they knew what pain was, all happening in an instant. Kingsley suffered terribly. But one night, as he lay in that bed in 1813, he did not rouse to clear his lungs. They cooled, flooded, and he drowned in that bed. Now, years would go by, and Fort Erie was restored into how you see it as today. Not long after, we were contacted by the estate of Captain Kingsley, who were then residing in Chicago. And they offered us a free artifact. No strings, no price tags, nothing. Poor Reed had turned down such a generous offer. Of course we accepted it. We brought the bed in, and since then it's been causing trouble. We've had reports of voices heard up here, from small mumblings to loud shrieks through the night. We've had the report of footsteps shuffling across the floor, or what sound like boots stomping down behind people as they leave. Windows and doors opening and closing on their own accord, objects found strewn about, including one incident where the striped pillow you see there was found in the room beneath us, despite the door being locked. But the most interesting story comes from a former staff member, actually one of the supervisors here, and he had been instructed to ensure that all the small windows on the outside, called loopholes, were good and securely shut. There's a large storm coming off the lake, and with the number of artifacts we have in this room, we did not want to risk damage to any of them. So he closed and secured them, and with the only set of keys, locked the door behind himself, and then went home. The next morning, he came in early so he could check on the officers' quarters, and as he was walking up the path, the rain was just letting up. He took the only set of keys, unlocked the door, bound up the stairs, and inspected the artifacts. Not a drop of rain in the room, not a thing amiss with any of the artifacts. But every single loophole was wide open. To this day, he will not come up here. Now, I don't want you to think that he's some dainty little thing. He is about your height, sir, about your build, so could easily take a fellow like me on. And he's a constable in the Niagara Regional Police, so not exactly the faint of heart type. Now, as we make our way out, I do encourage you to please use the handrails. As I mentioned, Kingsley suffered from rather violent mood swings. We have had visitors report what feels like a rather sharp shove as they descended the stairs. Now, a lot of you here don't have to worry about that. No woman has ever reported feeling a shove on the stairs. women report other things. We've had women report what feel like fingers passing through their hair and along the back of their neck, the feeling of a hand seizing onto their wrist, or an arm gliding across their midriff. Now, if any of you fine ladies react the way that my wife would to something like that, you are just as dangerous as a 250-pound man being shoved full force down these stairs. So gentlemen and ladies, please use the handrail. We will continue. Our kitchen is unique for a couple reasons. The first of which is this is the only room in which we've ever found bodies. During the reconstruction of the fort, 3 Americans were found buried in the ruins of this room. Now, we don't know exactly what their fate was, but there is one account that may answer what happened. When the British attacked, there's an account that they broke into this room and attacked the men inside with bayonet and musket butts. And the fighting became so vicious in the dark that the Americans in the room above began firing through the floorboards, killing friend and foe alike. We're not sure, though, because just like the Bastion, anybody who knows is under the monument. This room's also unique, and that's one of the few rooms we have a photograph of what appears to be a ghost. She is standing about where you are, and she seems to be hunched over as if working on something. Which leads us to the third thing. This is the only room that appears to be haunted by a whole family. Not only is the woman seen, but on days where there's no fire, no ash, nothing in the fireplace, people have recorded seeing a thin curl of smoke coming from above the fireplace. And they smell a sweet, burning tobacco smell. And they believe it to be a gentleman here. You always got to remember, you got more senses than just sight and sound. It's not always the man in the bed sheet you're going to see. Your other senses can tell you things. But if there's a man over there and a woman there, and it's a family, what about the children? We have hundreds of accounts of 2 little children spotted in here. They're very playful. They often ask people to join them in fun and running about. But none of you have to worry about that. No adult has ever seen the children. Every account has been from a child. With that, like to follow me, we'll carry on.